Start this bulletin in the Middle East as Israel faces a perilous dilemma in the wake of Iranian drone attacks and missile attacks on its territory, with U.S. and its allies urging restraint. Israel is now carefully considering its options. Our next report tells you why Iranian nuclear sites may be a target, but the question remains, will Israel choose to strike it?
Israel says it will respond to Iran's weekend attack, but is yet to elaborate on when and how. Prime Minister Netanyahu is in a huddle with top officials to discuss a possible response, while the military says it is ready to hit back.
We are closely assessing the situation. We remain at our highest level of readiness. Iran will face the consequences for its actions. We will choose our response accordingly. The IDF remains ready to counter any threat from Iran and its terror proxies as we continue our mission to defend the State of Israel.
A direct assault on Iranian military or infrastructure targets carries the risk of escalating the conflict into an all-out war. While some hardliners view this as an opportunity to strike Iran's nuclear facilities, the consequences could be disastrous. Iran's key nuclear facility, Natanz, is dug deep in the ground in the side of a mountain. It might be impenetrable to even the biggest bunker-busting bomb.
We always call for extreme restraint. Actually, what we were discussing here, which was not about Iran or the Middle East, is a tangible example of the need to avoid any physical attack against any nuclear facility. So, but we are there. We continue our work.
Next, Israel could target a high-value Iranian military leader or go after military sites or weapon depots inside the country, or even the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters. Covert operations, however, may offer a more subtle approach. Israel has a history of employing cyber attacks against its adversaries, targeting Iran's nuclear and missile programs, as well as its public infrastructure. These clandestine strikes have allowed Israel to deliver a message without openly escalating the conflict. Tehran also has options. It could unleash its proxies on US forces, use them to strike Israel directly, or ramp up its nuclear program that the United States and allies have long sought to restrain. Clearly, the clock is ticking. All eyes are on Israel's response to Iran's aggression. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, to get more insight, we are now being joined by Peter Kuznick, professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at American University. Peter, welcome back to WION. How is the Biden administration weighing the situation as Israel has vowed to strike Iran one way or the other?
Publicly, at least, the Biden administration is urging restraint. Biden has made it clear that the United States will not participate in any retaliatory actions taken by Israel. But Biden has done nothing to distance himself, really. He keeps saying that America's commitment to Israel is ironclad, and that U.S. aid to Israel, both military and financial, will continue. So while Biden has urged Israel not to take any actions that will escalate the conflict, that will broaden it, that will induce an Iranian retaliation against Israel and a counterstrike, Biden's influence with Netanyahu has been very, very limited up to this point. So the United States does not want to see a regional war. The United States does not want to get involved in a war with Iran at this point. But the United States has very little ability to control what Israel does.
On the one hand, the White House leaks that the United States won't support an attack from Israel against Iran. On the other hand, as you rightly mentioned, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, President Biden himself say that the U.S. will stand by Israel and assist it in any operation, so to say. So what do we read out of all of this? Is the Biden administration trying to have it both ways?
Yes, the Biden administration is trying to have it both ways. For the moment, the attention of the world is distracted away from the slaughter in Gaza and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. So that is to Netanyahu's advantage. However, that is going to be temporary. And then we're going to get back to the same situation in Gaza that the American people and people all over the world are horrified about. So Biden is walking a fine tightrope here. And on the one hand, he's trying to push for a ceasefire and stop the slaughter in Gaza. On the other hand, he doesn't want to create any distance or any serious distance between the Americans and the Israelis. So the interesting question is going to be not whether Israel responds. Israel has made it clear that they're going to respond. The question is how they will respond. The fear is that they would do something reckless, like try to take out Iran's nuclear facilities, which they might not be able to do even if they wanted to do. The IAEA has warned about this and removed some of its personnel from Iran's nuclear facilities. The likelihood is that there'll be a more limited response, either against Iran's proxies throughout the region, possibly a cyber attack inside of Iran, and possibly limited bombing inside Iran, perhaps the facilities in Iran that produce the drones that were used to attack Israel, along with the missiles. And the question,
we'll
of course,
be watching very closely as the world is watching. Yes, please.
We hope that this does not lead to a broader war throughout the region. Could be catastrophic.
Yeah, absolutely. Professor Kuznick, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us on WION, and do come back.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.